I am not in any way defending myself, but I want to say some things for the record to defend this Board of Trustees and my colleagues who are sitting over there, who do the very, very difficult work. Some of them sitting over here. Who do the very, very difficult work of helping me to run the college. Before I do that, though, I did want to have an introduction because I see over there on the right, I wanted to introduce one of the board members of our PCC Foundation, Shirley Burt, who has been here all night, so I'd ask us to give her a big hand. Also sitting with Shirley earlier was Dolores Hickenbottom, who is the chair of the President's African American Advisory Committee, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to thank Dolores, Bob Bell, all the many people in the college who contributed to what was a glorious Black History Month. Okay. But let me just say a couple of things, if you wouldn't mind, and I hope that they'll be salve and balm. But if you've ever had the experience of serving on a jury, some of you may have. You see that there's one trial, one defendant, and the prosecution gets up and presents the case and the evidence. And you're sitting there in the jury box and you say, I don't even know why we're having a trial. We should just send the guy right straight to jail. Okay? And then, and the defense gets up and says, okay, this is the same evidence, this is the same stuff, all right? And you're sitting in the jury box, if you've ever had that experience, and saying, they must have the wrong guy. Okay? My point simply is this. And for those of you, and I know all of you are of goodwill, since many of the people who I hope to talk to left, that if you can admit tonight the possibility that human beings see things through different points of view, let that be the beginning of a conversation, the continuation of a conversation that will move us forward. For a moment, I'm asking, since I listened respectfully to all of the comment, and you can imagine what it feels like to hear it, I just ask if there's a few of you, a teeny part of you, okay, that would be willing to say, okay, let's take a look at this another way, because I know we are. A couple things. First of all, I do want to let everyone know, and the board clearly knows, I don't need to remind the board, that I serve at the pleasure of the board. Okay? And there's nothing that I do that I do not clear in advance with the board, and I have complete guidance from the board in terms of the decisions. So I want to make that clear. And the board knows that better than anybody. But I also want to make clear that given that when I came to PCC, so that we don't have to have a healthy conversation, you want to try and move out of magical thinking. That somehow the present got all on the love and there was a past, okay, that was somehow this kind of, just everything was wonderful. PCC has been here since 1924. It was founded long before any of us got here. Had a long reputation of excellence before any of us got here, okay? We're stewards of that reputation. But I would say when I took over, I was the 4th superintendent president in 4 years. I'm not responsible for what happened before that time. All I know is I picked it up from where I was given it by this board. And when I did pick it up, just to remind, especially students who may not have been here, some of you may have, at the time. When we began our work together, this college was not accredited. It had been placed on warning by the ACCJC for, among other things, not having proper shared governance for years. Okay? You need to read the report. This college, among the citations by the accreditor before I arrived, the college had no educational master plan. we've since had one. We did not have a self-report card that reported outcomes. Some people cited statistics. The statistics of our student outcomes are on our webpage, on our own self-report card. And the state of California issues an accountability report for the community colleges. And one of the things that the trustees took a look at the August 29th, was that the student outcomes, while not poor, were not improving. Those are facts, okay? There was no IT. There was no information system. The current information system that we're still limping along with was installed in 1984. So we had that to do. The contract with my colleagues in the Faculty Association, when I took over, it had been expired for over a year. And I came to agreement with the Faculty Association by January of that year. That contract has again expired by almost a year. And we are at impasse, as well you know. And so we need to factor in that in the difficult times we are, that sometimes labor management relations will be strained because we don't agree. But we're moving through that in a perfectly open legal process that the Faculty Association understands. So there was no contract in place when I arrived. There was a violation of AB 1725 because I know AB 1725, and one of the things that you're supposed to do is to rely primarily on the Faculty Senate for faculty hiring. That didn't exist when I came. I corrected that. And I returned the faculty hiring priorities process to the Academic Senate. They do all the time. The young woman, and I agree 100%, that we need to hire more Latina faculty. That's in the hands of the Senate. And on my watch, we have approved 60 new faculty, despite budget constraints, and 10 new ones just this year. In addition, we were cited by the ACCJC for no ethics statements, no policies for distance education. Sandra Haynes won the award for the Board of Governors. And I'm saying this not in any way to be defensive, but I know some of my colleagues are new, who do this hard work every day, and I just wanted to make sure, since the press is here, that we kind of said, look, there's a reason for differing points of view. We listened respectfully. So there was quite a bit of stuff here when I picked it up and the board gave me the privilege of serving that. Okay? And I'll continue to do so until the board asks me not to. But let me tell you what we've accomplished. Right? I hear very well. The board has heard the input about the calendar. And I won't speak to that right now. But I said one of the things that this board should be congratulated for is that this college, this year, at this moment, has added more classes to our 12-13 schedule than any other college or district in the state of California. More colleges serving more students. There is not a single student in this college, not one, who presents himself or herself to Dr. Bell, who has been shut out of the class. We have opened sections specifically for 3 or 4 students so that they could have the courses they needed. And that's what, instead of putting 200 or 300 sections out, we were able to put 2,500 sections out. So that all of the students, and most of our entering students are basic skills, who English and math in the fall in our amazing Pathways program, were able to start right up after the holiday and go back into English and math. Now the results will be proven over time, but certainly that was a reasonable basis, even if you disagree. But the board went one better. As well you know, we had a flaming budget crisis every moment that I've been superintendent president. We instituted budget discipline. We balanced the budget every year. And we added classes, and we added, in a difficult budget environment, besides hiring those faculty, we added research and development, but this board took a risk and funded $1 million for Student Access and Success Initiative. Because of that investment, which wasn't even thought of 3 years ago, we have the design technology pathways, we have the Math Jam pathways, which is now on steroids. It's grown from 150 to almost 1,000 students. And for all of that work, which didn't exist 3 years ago, the State Chancellor's Office awarded this year Pasadena City College the Award for Student Success. And you know, I'm looking over at Shirley. Thanks to Shirley and the devoted alumni. PCC in the last 3 years has been #1 in fundraising in the state. #1. PCC has been in the top 5 in grants, $26 million in new grants for the state, every dollar of which is going out to students. So, I just wanted to, and one just note, and give me a point of personal privilege here. The safe zone, okay, I stood up Prop 187, okay, I couldn't agree more. There's no one in my administration who is not a DREAM actor, a DREAM Act, AB 540. We have to be a safe zone for every human being, since there are no illegal human beings who comes to our campus for help. That is the law of this campus. So, and I fought for that earlier in my career, and I won't bore you with that. The last thing the board did is we don't have the money from Prop 30. I asked the board, and the board had to go some. They went right to the ledge on this recommendation when I asked them to borrow $10 million this year to fund what? Classes for students. More classes than any other college in the state of California. Okay? We are funding those classes and all the things that I talked about on money the board agreed to borrow. Now, yes, we will get that money, at least it's promised. We have an IOU from Jerry Brown, you know, June 15th that we'll get that money. Okay? Great. But most colleges in the state did not add those classes because they had drained their reserves, which this board did not, and were not able to use that borrowed money for the benefit of students. Now, I recognize better than anybody in my long career that people won't agree with the decisions of administration, and clearly we heard that tonight. But at least, and these are the things that I have time for, some of the things that I've mentioned tonight ought to purchase us a conversation, not a and boom, okay? Purchase us a conversation because how to move forward. Because if, in the wisdom of this Board of Trustees, that you want to have a 5th superintendent president in 7 years,
please,
all of those problems will still be there. The need to have all that conversation in difficult circumstances, and I couldn't agree more. You need to come together. Okay, we need to come together. Okay, but I wanted to say what I wanted to say, and thank you for the privilege. That's my report for tonight, because I wanted to make sure that the board heard this from me, and that my colleagues, with whom I'm honored to serve, heard it from me. And hopefully we can get my friends and family back in the room, and we can, you know, keep that conversation going. Thank you, President Martin. That's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rocha.
President Martin, I was hoping Dr. Rocha would say this, but he did touch on the beginning. One of the students asked the question, when are you going to respond to us? And I just wanted to point out, most of the people are gone, but all these comments we heard were for items not on the agenda. And by the Brown Act, we cannot respond to items not on the agenda.
Right.
So if you, and I think President Rocha's comment was right, if you want to have a dialogue, start a dialogue, the way to do it is not coming and giving us information for items not on the agenda, because we can't answer you, we can't engage in a dialogue. This is the point of view.